Hello there, welcome to a tyke farming in the Philippines. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, ding-a-ling-ding-dong the bell. It's Monday morning, 8 o'clock. We've got 3 men on site. At the moment, Win and Ramil are sorting out the pigs, cleaning and feeding them as normal. Soy's back on with the hot boxes, and then they'll be coming up at the top end here to work on the fence. It rained last night. The small tanks, 2 small tanks near the cabin, were nearly empty last night. So it's filled them, which is good. Now, the tank at the piggery, that was getting low last night. So I put the well pump on for the first time I've used it. The drillers filled that tank last week, and it's lasted 5 days, 6 days maybe. So I filled it 3/4 full last night. I turned the pump on, automatic, and it pumped water. I timed it. It pumped water for 2 minutes, which isn't very long, but it pumped an awful lot of water in that 2 minutes. So I left it. This was 5:30 when I put it on. Now, I haven't got a cut-off on it yet for when the tank's full. So I went down at 9 o'clock. No, it wasn't 5:30. I can't remember. But the pump was on for 3 hours. And in that 3 hours, it filled that tank to 1 foot off the top. So it filled it very, very quickly indeed. It ran for 2 minutes when I timed it. Last week, when the drillers timed it, it took 18 minutes to fill that pipe up to the sensors again, and then it had run again after 18 minutes. It was possibly quicker than that this time. Because in 3 hours it filled the tank, and that tank, I think it's 4,500 litres we measured it at. So it put 4,000 litres in that tank in 3 hours. So that was very good. Yesterday's video, awful lot of comments on that video, so it obviously sparked the interest of a good number of people, which is very good. Now, comments, if you make a comment when the video's playing, I don't answer them comments. Jean answers them. I'm not quick enough to get replies to them before the video ends. Now, if you send a message on Jean's Facebook or Tyke and Arena's Facebook, she's got up there as well, it's Jean who answers the comments on there. She'll tell me about them and ask me what to say sometimes, but it's Jean answers the comments. Now, the comments on the actual video, I think there's 26 or so, Jean tells me. I answer all those. Throughout the day, as comments come in, Jean I'll see them and tell me about them. Yesterday, that video was in response to a comment, which I hadn't seen at that time, but I knew about it because Jean had told me. So just to let you know, it's not always me answering the comments if it's on the live broadcast or on Facebook, it's Jean. But she does tell me about them and ask me what to say sometimes. and sometimes I say, just reply what you think. So that's that. As usual, I'll make 2 or 3 videos throughout the day. Nothing special happening today, I don't think. So yeah, we'll leave it there for now, and we'll get back to you shortly. Right, it's 1:30. Not much to show you. It's been raining virtually non-stop all morning, so a bit of a washout really. Started maybe 10 o'clock. Still drizzling, spitting now. Last week before we wanted it, but now we don't. But we got the shutters off, and we've cleaned up a little bit so the drillers can get in. So we've made a step forward on the fencing, but that's about it. So we're working down the piggery as best we can. We'll go and have a look. The fittings I got yesterday for soy, there was 1 fitting I couldn't get, and there's 2 more of the fittings won't fit. So I'll have to go down. I'm going down there now tomorrow. See if we can get them down there. Pigs are all sleeping, even the little ones. 1 pen's active, the other pen are all asleep. So we'll see what we're doing here. This fitting has been dripping. I tried to get a reducer yesterday, but couldn't get one. So they'll sort it out best they can. Yeah, we've got the piping along the top. We'll go and have a look at the other end. We're still working on the hot boxes. And that's the pipe. I think the fitting I couldn't get was the straight connector to go into the top of the well. We've got the angle iron fitted in there to support the pipe. I'll see the drillers when they come to see if there's enough length in the electric wire to route it round the same, but I don't think there is. There might be, because it's coming from the top there down and into the bottom. We'll see. Probably not, so that's probably how it's going to stay. So I'll leave the video there, and I'll do another one this evening. It's 5:15, so to make a closing video, there will be a little video after this one, which I'll explain about later. Fined up a bit this afternoon, so we got a bit of work done outside, but not a great deal. So we washed out, pigs are fed, wind's just finishing off now. Just, yeah, okay. I'll just check these because Wynne said there was one with a wet backside, which I didn't see earlier on. Yeah, okay. There's no wet stools when I looked. Of course, they all face you when you want to see the back end. No, they look fine to me. So, how are we doing? There's pipes in, and what they're going to do by the looks of it is run a pipe across the top of the tank. Now that half-inch pipe was going to be the infill pipe from the bottom holding tank. Well, it makes no difference. I'll just let them do it as they're doing it. It probably wouldn't be a good idea anyway to go into that half-inch pipe from the 1.25" pipe or inch pipe on the inside, because the pump does throw a lot of water out. So it probably is better continuing the same size of pipe into the hole at the top. I've got to get that fitting for the top of there, and a couple of other fittings which were the wrong size, tomorrow if I can, hopefully. We'll have a look down the fence line. I know there's not a lot of work done down there. They're helping soil a little bit and potting around from 11 o'clock till 1. Oh, there we are. That's going to be the hot box. It's raised off the ground 2 inches so you can get the hose underneath it without getting the piglets wet. And it'll be open at the front. I'll maybe put a top on it, and maybe the 3 sides I'll be, or 2 sides anyway, the ends and the back in plywood, just to stop drafts, and maybe after top I'll put plywood on, just to keep the heat in. And it's convenient then for putting the heat lamp in as well. I'll do the same on them nursery pens. But it's put plywood on the doors there, so I can put plywood on the door at this end. So yeah, one's more or less finished, and one to go. I have a good story about the well next door, and the same fella did our well, but I've been told not to say anything about it, so I won't. But we got the shuttering off before it started raining, and they started a bit further up. There's a couple of trees I think this is coming out because it's a post, but the string line is just touching a couple of trees, so they have to be chopped out, so we get a proper measurement from the surveyor's peg to the surveyor's peg. But since, well, 1:30, about that time, they've managed to come back and do a little bit. So that's the end of this video. Now, following this, I'm going to put a little video. I managed to do figure out how you do what do you call it, fast forward video, time lapse. So I did a little time lapse video in the shop. Now I got a couple of comments yesterday about yesterday's video, which was skeptical, and that's okay, because I'm not offended by skepticism. I think that's a good quality to have personally. The Western world wouldn't be in the mess it's in, particularly Europe, but all of the Western world, if there was more skepticism. And people just tend to believe what they're told by the mainstream media and whatever. But we're not getting into politics. So I quite like skepticism. So what I've done, I've made a little time lapse. Well, I said time lapse, that's the right term, isn't it? Of the Sari shop. Now, the clip lasts from 3:30 in the afternoon to 4 o'clock, to give you an idea of the level of trade they do in that shop. Now, the busiest time in that shop consistently is from about 4:30 to 6 o'clock, as people are coming home from work. But I didn't want to do half an hour during that period, the busiest time of the day, because it doesn't give you a true picture. Mornings can be very busy, people going to work, but that tends to be 1, 2 at a time. Motorbikes will stop, get 2 or 3 bits and pieces, and it can be busy at any time during the day. There's no rhyme or reason. But of an evening time, 4:30 to 6 o'clock, you get fellas coming home from work, and they very often stand at the front and have a beer or a glass of Coke, and they're also buying bits and pieces for the evening meal, I would imagine. And we get quite a lot of women coming in buying stuff for again, I imagine, the evening meal. So I didn't want to show the busiest time, I wanted to show maybe what's an average time. But it's not non-stop throughout the day, obviously. We get periods in there, and then maybe get 1, 2 customers in an hour. So I'll stick that time-lapse thing on after this, and it'll give you an idea of the shop. And if people are still skeptic about what I said, I'm quite happy with that. That's their prerogative, and like I said, skepticism is a very good thing indeed. I know Andrew Bolt in Australia, a journalist, old school journalist, about climate change, and this woman accused him of being a climate skeptic. He says, of course I'm a skeptic. I'm a journalist, I'm a skeptic about everything. And that's how journalism used to be, and hopefully it will be again. Because that's their job, to be skeptical about anything they're told. So like I say, I don't mind skeptics. So we'll leave it there, and we'll do it all again tomorrow.